Welcome to the From Concealment Podcast, the show for firearm enthusiasts who like to shoot, train, carry, and compete. Get ready for some shooting and sight, firearm and accessory reviews, and of course, insight on conceal carry. And now, broadcasting from behind enemy lines in the From Concealment studio, it's Pete Mitchell and Dan Sams.
Hey, Freedom Nation, this is Pete Mitchell.
And I'm Dan Sams.
And you are listening to the From Concealment Podcast, which is being brought to you by Fast OC. If you are in Orange County or the surrounding areas and you'd like to go to a handgun challenge or perhaps a training course on advanced CCW tactics, shotgun training, rifle training, just about any kind of training you can think of, they've got it at fastoc.com. I do pretty much all their handgun challenges. In fact, I just did a two-gun challenge on Tuesday. Dan, that was a lot of fun. If you saw my videos on Facebook, I did bad enough that I was like, I don't even want to hear the results. I'm going to go ahead and leave. So I'm not even sure if I was I'm pretty sure I was not in the top 10 since most of the guys there were like hardcore competition shooters. And I was like, all right, whatever. Yeah. I'm just gonna go ahead and leave. But it's fun. It is so stinking fun. And so anyway, guys, definitely check them out, fastoc.com.
Awesome.
So anyway, one of the things, Dan, that I wanted to kind of bring up was this article that was on gunownersca.com. And headline of it is 423 million firearms and 8.1 billion rounds of ammo. What's not to love? That's the title of it. And a couple of things that they went into here is there was a joint study conducted by researchers at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health and the University of California at Davis Violence Prevention Research Program found that California's much-touted mandated background checks have had no impact on gun deaths. And researchers are puzzled as to why. Well, gee, really? The Public School of Health and the Violence Prevention Research Program, I mean, doesn't really shock me there that they're puzzled at.
Oh, that's awesome. I love when they're like, we did this research and it didn't give us the results we wanted. We don't understand why.
What happened?
Great.
What happened?
Oh, I love it.
Here's what they did, guys. They went back and they looked at, California's had expansive background checks for the sale of firearms since 1991. The legislation mandated that all such sales had to go through an FFL. Ultimately, all firearm sales and transfers became subject to a 15-day waiting period. Now it's a 10-day to make certain all gun purchases had undergone a thorough background check. Which, by the way, guys, the background check that the NCIS or whatever the name of that initials for that program is, it takes a couple of seconds. It doesn't take 10 days. They know instantly if you got a clean background or not. But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
So anyway, since that, what they did is they looked at the 10 years prior, they looked at the 10 years after, they looked at states that didn't have this, and what they found was there was no difference. There was no difference in gun deaths. So this whole, if we make you go through these background checks, if we, stifle your rights for a length of time, that's somehow going to stop things. No, it's not. Not at all. And I think this stat is off. This just, to me, cannot possibly be right. Here's what they said. And then there's that new report that violent crime dropped by 48.6% in the U.S. in the same period that saw the record number of arms purchases, which is 423 million firearms and 8.1 billion rounds of ammo. Doesn't that just sound like that's got to be like a cumulative of the whole America? 423?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, are they saying that is that's where we're at now in total ownership? Not that's what was sold in that time period.
Like that's the way they wrote it, but I'm like, that can't possibly be.
It sounds like somebody just didn't write that sentence well.
Right. Yeah.
Because we're talking about a 10-year period, right? Or are they talking about
they're saying, let's see here, because they're linking off to another article. So if I go to that article, it says violent crime dropped by 48.6% in the U.S. in the same period that saw the record number of arms purchases, 423 million. According to a recently released data from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. So if it came from a government report, then that's got to be actually legit. Because the ATF would have no idea what's already in the United States.
Yeah.
All they would know are the sales. And it says firearms related accidents alone declined 68% between 86 and 2018, a period in which U.S. citizens purchased 8.1 billion rounds of ammo. So 8.1 billion rounds of ammo, which I got to at least be a million of it between 86 and 2018. So I'd have to look. I'd have to find that ATF report to see over what time frame is that 423 million. That's not the same 86, but still, man, that's that makes me proud to be an American.
It does me too, man. Well, no matter how you cut it, like these numbers look really good for gun ownership. And,
they really do.
They really do. But I'm really curious as to the details on that. And I'm just amazed. I think of how many people throw out really like random, false information as if it's true. And I shouldn't say I keep hearing, but a couple of times I've heard anti-gun people make comments related to like, well, the more guns there are in a society, the more violent crime there is. And they'll throw that out as if it's a stat. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? Like, well, and they'll say things like, studies prove or whatever. I'm like, where? I've never seen this. I've only seen the opposite. And these kind of things are helpful in just kind of like putting that kind of stuff to rest. And
dude, what's funny is I got into it with this guy on Facebook, and I don't know who the guy is, right? But he was like going off about how guns are evil and blah, 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 all this other stuff. And I go, well, here's the stats, right? And I pointed him to our own From Concealment website where we linked to the FBI stats that someone else had compiled.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, those are obviously biased. And I'm like, I don't think you can accuse the FBI of biased stats. It's the FBI.
Yeah. If they're biased, it's against gun ownership. So
right. Yeah. And I go, and secondly, you're pointing to Gabby Gifford Foundation and all this other crap. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, those are totally biased.
Oh, yeah. Well, but we're in a crazy world where the liberal thinking is that like, well, if it's liberal, it's unbiased. Like it's crazy. I'll hear people speak as with that presumptiveness, like, well, no, we're right. So we're unbiased. And I'm like, what in the world? We're in a crazy world, man. We really are.
Right. Yeah. So I found this to be really fascinating. Because, here's the thing. In California, it's a very ungun friendly state. Our governor is an idiot. In fact, there's you sent me that T-shirt. Right?
That was a fan submission, by the way. A listener, saw that and sent it to me because he knows because he knew me, and he's like, "This is for Pete."
It's beautiful. I literally was on the site going, "Okay, what size should I get of this?" Because I was like, and basically what it says is, "My governor is an idiot," and the O is like the California logo.
California seal.
The California seal. Yeah. So anyway, we have a very anti-gun culture by our political leaders here in California. And you've heard me talk about this. It is so insane right now. We cannot buy ammunition without getting a background check.
Yeah.
And they've denied 68,000 people the ability to purchase ammunition. And they found that only 100 of those people should have had it stopped, meaning they're not allowed to have a firearm.
Man.
Or be in possession of a firearm, which again, I have a constitutional issue with because these aren't privileges. These are rights. You don't get to infringe on my rights, period. But whatever, that's something for another podcast.
That's worth a conversation. I've had many times where I'm talking to people who are they're felons, but they weren't violent at all. They're reformed. They've paid and I'm like, why aren't you allowed to own a gun? You've not hurt anybody. You're like, and you're in a position where you need to defend yourself. That's we should have a whole episode on that. I think that's what we're talking about.
And the thing is it's one of those areas that no one really wants to touch on because, first of all, no one really cares about felons, or you can even lose your gun rights, at least in California, for certain misdemeanors.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they'll take it away for anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, that's a whole nother.
Yeah. But no, go ahead. The whole situation here, it sounds like people weren't allowed to get ammo that even legally should have been allowed to.
Almost all.
And that's a big problem. You want to talk about, that's some shadiness going on right there, man.
It totally is. And the thing that I hate the most about it is they literally have to write down what you're buying. So the state of California knows, hey, he's buying 1,000 rounds of 9mm. He's buying 1,000 rounds of 45. He's getting 320 rounds of 308. He's getting, and I'm like, first of all, that's none of their damn business.
Yeah.
They don't need to know what I'm shooting. They don't need to know how often I'm shooting. They don't need to know any of that. So I personally have not gone through that process. I'm just going to say that I have not gone through the process. Everything I've done has been constitutionally correct, shall we say?
Right on. Yeah. Yeah.
I did not violate the U.S. Constitution in any way, shape, or form.
Excellent.
And,
well done.
In that, but let me just say, I'm getting low on ammo. Like I'm down to 400 rounds that I could use at my indoor range, and I'm like, good night, man. I've never been that low before. I mean,
that's
never.
low.
So you can reload your own. I mean, I'm out there just literally cranking some reloads, and I mean, because I just don't believe the state should know anything that I own.
I agree.
And a buddy of mine, he bought some ammo. I'm not going to say the name of the store because I'm pretty sure what they're doing is not legal in California.
Oh man!
Because he goes, oh no, they don't write down what you own or what you're buying. I go, yeah, they do. I mean, that's part of the deal. And he goes, oh yeah, well, so and so over here at this particular store, they go, oh yeah, we don't fill that part out. We don't fill that part out when we send it. And I'm like, okay, well, they're going to get in trouble for that, man, because that's not going to fly. But
I wonder how long they can go on the whole, like, whoops, we just didn't fill out the form, right? Sorry.
Do it right? I don't know, but I kind of want to run over there real quick and go buy from them because I'm like, dude, man, that's...
be like, how about if Mr. Andrew Jackson here comes across the table and maybe you don't write down what I put down there?
What's funny though, this is true. This is really funny, right? So in California, because of the stupid ammo law, you can buy ammo without going through a background check if you're buying it at a range and you use it all at the range.
Huh.
So,
all right.
So I go in there and I might buy 1,000 rounds and I will use all 1,000 rounds.
Oh, yes. Using
all 1,000 rounds are burned up at that range in that time. In fact, I tell them that. I go, oh, no, I'm going to burn all 1,000 of these today. And they go, okay, no problem. There you go.
On, man.
I'm like, thank you.
There you go. That's a good way right there.
It doesn't hurt that they know me pretty well too. But I mean, I'm not doing anything shady. Let me just say that.
There you go.
I literally do burn it all there.
I'm with you, man. I'm totally with you on that.
Totally burn it all there.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
1,000 rounds plus, easy.
Bam, bam, bam.
As well. Yeah.
Yes. What a wonderful time to be alive.
Freaking California, man. This state is just ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. It is crazy. Well, and then Virginia boys, I mean, we've already been talking about what's going on down there for them. It's getting real serious. Well, then what's interesting to me is how the freedom movement, though, is growing in the midst of all of this. I think we were talking in the last episode or in one of our episodes about the shooting in Texas and how I think that's actually not Texas. Where am I thinking? It's Texas. I'm sorry. Where that I think has helped warm people up to like, yeah, we need to make sure people have guns, defend themselves. And then as the states is putting more egregious laws against guns, people are like, why is this? And so people are kind of getting weirded out to the point where I was in Disney World a little while ago, and it's rainy down there, and so I've got this Carhartt rain jacket that I wear. And somebody stops me and says, and I could tell like he was, kind of country, and he's like, hey, you like that jacket? And I'm like, yeah, man, it's great. I've had it a few years. And I'm like, the price is right. It's this Carhartt jacket that's just kind of awesome. I was telling him all about it. I'm like, perfect in a bug out scenario. And then I pause and I'm like, or the boogaloo. And he looks at me and he's like, yeah, buddy. And I'm like, yeah, I love that. Like with just a little bit of subtlety, and you can find out who's with you.
Yeah, if they go, the what? Then you go, like, nothing.
Nothing, man. Yeah. I'll be like, will you perhaps be engaging in any large ice shelter building? And they're like, why, yes, I might be. And I'm like, excellent.
I love
But
it.
like the fact that just some random guy, like, I mean, maybe he was a Fed who's been listening in. But
in California, they're like, well, we already got that guy so nailed to the ground. He can't do anything fun.
That's right. So anyway, it's good stuff. We are in a crazy time though. So
I was talking to this one guy a couple of weeks ago at the range. I won't mention what range it was. I go to many ranges, and this is just some random dude. So don't be like, if the ATF is listening, don't be thinking, hey, we're going to figure out who this guy is.
Yeah.
And so he's talking about, he's like, oh yeah, this is one of my builds right here. And so, I mean, he does a lot of 80%ers. And I'm like, dude, it's just freaking California. I mean, what the heck? He's like, oh, no, I'm a resident of Nevada. I just happen to work out here a lot. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So, you leave your stuff out there in Nevada and whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, and that's where I keep all my silencers. And I'm like, oh, cool. You how hard was it to get it registered with the ATF? And he goes, oh no, I make them all myself. And I was like, oh.
Well, I'm like, dude, careful with the loose lips, man.
Dude, I'm like, well, I mean, you trust everyone at the gun range because we're all like, we see each other all the time, right? But I'm like, man, to me, that's an area that I just don't want to jack with, right? Because I'm in California. Yeah. We already got just this bullseye on our back. Yeah. So there's no NFA items in California. There are no silencers, no short barrel rifles. There's no full automatic weapons unless, of course, you're in Hollywood. You're in the film industry. Of course. You can get a waiver for it.
They get away with everything.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. Yep. It's the hypocrisy. Oh, I mean, if anybody who needs a fake gun, like a fake gun would be fine. It's Hollywood. They don't even need the real stuff. But, whatever. But,
nice.
So I just, I'm like the whole NFA stuff. So I've never shot a gun with a silencer. I can't wait to go out to a free state like Ohio. And I know you've got some friends who've got some totally, compliant legal stuff. And totally. I would love to shoot a silencer, a suppressed, a couple of different firearms. I want to hear what does a 9 sound like. I want to hear how loud still is an AR-15 when it's silenced. Because I hear it's still pretty loud. I mean,
depends on the suppressor, man.
Does it?
So I've fired ARs with suppressor on where I didn't need to wear hearing protection. So like it really does depend on the suppressor. To some degree, I guess where you're in it. I was shooting something with 223 in a suppressor, and it sounded about like my 22 rifle. It was low enough. I didn't need to wear. Yeah. That's the thing is that the quality of suppressors is so varied. I mean, you can get a $100 suppressor that'll do something and it's helpful. And then there's, you can also spend like $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000 on something that's going to bring it down. It's still going to be noisy. But you might be surprised. There's a lot of guns you could get to where you could get by without hearing protection. Again, this depends, but you might be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to come out here and enjoy the world.
I got to go to a free state to be able to do that stuff. Man. I can't do that here in California. Dude, there's no freaking way I would do that in California. If someone was like, hey, let's go out to the desert, I'd be like, that's cool. And if they had that, I'd be like, dude, I ain't hanging with this because I'm not going to jail for 10 years for freaking a suppressor.
I know. And that's what's scary is they will throw the book at you. I am convinced. That's why I don't want to mess with anything like that either. Like it's just dangerous because I'm like, it is not worth it. And it's still crazy to me. Like you'll hear about somebody murdering somebody and they're out in a matter of a few years. But some of these other things that have they're mandatory sentences or they just like to throw the book and make an example. And I'm like theoretically, I could get less time for killing somebody than for, making a Kalashnikov fully auto. And I'm like, that's just what a mess we're in. So Yeah, that's why I'm like, I really do want to follow laws, be careful, because I don't want to get into trouble unnecessarily.
I just want to have fun, man. I want to have fun.
Man.
And if the boogaloo happens to go down, then so be it.
And then we make what we need to make during the boogaloo when it doesn't matter what you're making because you're in the ice shelter.
I got to see, if I lived in a free state, I mentioned this on one of our previous podcasts, that I would make a silencer. I would get it registered, right? And I'd put the serial number on it and all that. But I think I would rather make it because I'd like to have multiple caliber, right? So I'd like to be able to change the innards, if you will, and the connections. That way I could do, 9mm or 223 or something like that. But I'd need to learn how to do all that stuff. And I would just literally probably make 2 or 3, get them registered, and then just make sure that I could, because I made them, make them multiple caliber.
Yeah. I mean, while you can buy the multiple caliber ones outright too, but like being able to make it multiple caliber and be able to know how to do that.
Well, there's benefits too to making it. The problem is if you buy it and it breaks, it gets damaged, whatever, then you got to reapply when you buy a new one.
Doesn't that suck? Yeah.
And you have to do the same thing if you make it yourself.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly right. I feel like people miss a lot by not being able to watch the video of us.
See us do air quotes.
Oh, that's great. No, but I am recommending you got to come out for a visit. We'll get you together with my. Well, what we'll do is we'll just do an episode from Lake Erie Arms. And we'll try out a bunch of stuff. Yeah, they would gladly just a couple of conversations, and we'd interview a couple of their gunsmiths. We'd get together at the range. We'd fire some stuff. We could probably do a series of episodes there. So if you wanted to come out for a few days,
do you guys have hand grenades? Because I really want to do a hand grenade too.
I don't think so, but man, that would be cool,
dude. Wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't know.
See, all my military friends are like, it's not that big of a deal. But yes, to us who haven't done it, it is a big deal.
Seems like it would be a lot of fun.
I just want to go blow some stuff up.
I mean, if you want to, we could, make some Molotov cocktails and throw them. I got some whiskey bottles we can put some stuff in. See, I don't think that's the same.
No, and honestly, that's kind of like, oh, okay, it's fire. I want boom.
We got to get the boom. Yeah,
that's what I'm after.
I feel you, man. No, seriously, you got to come out. We'll do a few days. We'll hang out. I think that would be a fun series of episodes.
Dude, I actually got invited to SHOT Show and I had to turn it down. Can you believe that?
Oh no, man.
I know.
Oh, hey, so you know what? Let's tell the Freedom Nation right now. If you spread the word on this podcast, we've got some faithful listeners. One of the best things you can do is like and share, rate us on iTunes or Stitcher or whatever else. Get the word out. Share the heck out of this. Because if we had enough of a following, man, it would make it worthwhile for us to go to SHOT Show and, advertise some better stuff, maybe run some special deals. There's some cool things that happen for the Freedom Nation as we grow. So, yeah, everybody.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it.
Yeah.
So why don't you give Lake Erie their due, their props? Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to tell you about what has happened in my life since Lake Erie Arms became a part of my life. I've
it's
been
like
able
a family
to.
member.
That's right. I've been able to legally fire a full auto weapon, which was really exciting there. I've been able to get parts to build a just state-of-the-art custom AR. I was able to talk to experts while I was doing it. I have been able to buy excellent optics, all kinds of stuff. And all the while, I've got those guys there taking care of me. So many times, you can have a lifetime guarantee on something or some other kind of guarantee on one of your guns. But if something goes wrong, you're the one that has to do all the legwork and all the hassling to deal with them. Lake Erie Arms, when you buy something there, they take care of all that legwork for you. So you buy a gun and something goes wrong, they either are fixing it for you there or they are the ones talking to the manufacturer to make sure everything is taken care of. You just don't have to have the headache. They're amazing guys. They know their stuff. Lake Erie Arms. So check out learms.net. Jump on there. Subscribe to some of our free subscriptions we have on there. There's all kinds of great stuff. But definitely come out to Lake Erie Arms in Huron, Ohio, and actually buy some amazing stuff from the store because it's amazing. Love those guys. Appreciate them and all their support.
All right, guys. We'll be back next week with another episode. So until then, prep up for the boogaloo and train some more.
Yeah, buddy. Get ready for that large ice shelter. Take care, everybody.
You've been listening to the From Concealment Podcast with Pete Mitchell and Dan Sams. Be sure to tune in next week for more gun talk. Also, check out the From Concealment website for more shooting-related goodness at FromConcealment.com.